Do you know what the Schlieffen Plan was? I'd hope so. But if you wanted to know, the Schlieffen Plan was a military strategy developed by the Germans' General von Schlieffen. This was in the early 20th century, so the 1900s. And basically, it was designed to help win a war against France. The plan called for a massive invasion of France through Belgium, who at this point is neutral, with Germany's main army attacking the French capital, Paris, which was up north. The intention from Germany was to knock France out of the war, so that by the time Russia was ready to rumble, then they wouldn't have France to also worry about, considering at this point, they seem to have just been getting prepared, or had been waiting for some signal to get involved. To implement the plan, Germany went, okay, we're gonna attack Belgium and occupy key strategic point in the northern France. The German army would then swing south, surround Paris, and force France to surrender. After defeating France, the German army would then swing all their attention to Russia in the east. Talk about it in a lot more detail in like 2 seconds. But the plan had failed, and it's actually for a number of different reasons. Off the top of my head, I can tell you that Belgium were prepared for if they were going to get fought, so they did have resistance. There were delays in the German army's advance, and there were just weird timings for the arrival of French As a result, Germany were forced to fight a long and grueling two-front war, which ultimately led to Germany's defeat in World War I. And Shalom, because I know you don't know what a two-front war is, I'll put it right here. So yeah, the reasons why this plan failed was because there was just unexpected Belgian resistance. The plan relied on quick moving through Belgium to get to France, but the Belgian army just resisted the German advance and slowed them down. There were delays in the army advance. The German army faced supply and communication issues, as well as difficult terrain in Belgium, which just slowed down their progress. Arrival of French and British reinforcements. The British force and French troops arrived faster than expected, which disturbed the German timetable and forced them to fight on two fronts. Obviously the failure to encircle France. The German army was unable to completely surround Paris and capture the city, which gave the French army time to just regroup, counterattack, and just... And there were overextended supply lines. The German army's long supply lines made it difficult to maintain their advance and keep their troops well fed and equipped. I can imagine quite expensive. Now for the more interesting part of the video. At least to me. Trench warfare. It was a type of combat that developed during World War I, in which where soldiers fought from the trenches or ditches that were dug into the ground. The trenches were often zigzagged and interconnected, creating a complete network of defense positions that stretched for hundreds of miles along the Western Front. Uh-oh, we're pulling out the drawing software again. Ooh, zigzaggy trenches, oh my god. Now, at least maybe to me, I'm thinking, let's say someone's here and someone's here. They can't shoot at each other yet. Is that why it's zigzagged? Is that why it's zigzagged and why it's so big brain? Also, if you're up here, or if you have a tank up here, it's just a lot harder to traverse. So you can't just ram your tank into this and hope you get it back up, maybe? I'm not sure. The opposing sides would dig in and fortify their positions, and they would try to attack and capture the enemy trenches. Now, trenches weren't obviously always what I've for some reason drawn over here. Divots or ditches. Ooh. Why did I not take art as a subject? Oh my god. Ah, yes. Yeah, look at this trench! Now, life in the trenches were really difficult and dangerous. Soldiers were exposed to the elements and often lived in cramped, unsanitary conditions. They were also exposed to disease, trench foot, and other illnesses. You don't want to know what trench foot was. I'm sorry, I had to show. The constant threat of enemy fire and artillery made movement and communication really difficult. Soldiers really had to deal with long periods of boredom, punctuated by sudden moments of intense combat. And so, although these would create such suffering, they were really needed and really effective in combat. Trench warfare was characterized by the use of machine guns, artillery, and poison gas. You ever seen one of these masks? Yeah. That's what they're for, which made it extremely deadly. Battles could last for weeks or even months and often resulted in massive casualties. Examples of time that trench warfare was used was in a battle called the Battle of the Somme. This battle was fought between July and November in 1916 on the Western Front and was one of the bloodiest battles in history. The British and French armies attempted to break through German defenses using a massive artillery barrage, but were met with heavy resistance and suffering of massive casualties. Now, I don't really know if I need to know this, but I found this battle called the Battle of Passchendaele. Which was known as the Battle of the Ypres. What are these names? Now, this battle was fought between July and November in 1917 in Belgium. It was characterized by heavy rain and mud, which made movement really difficult and resulted in over 500,000 casualties on both sides. Conflicts like the Battle of Verdun and the Battle of Gallipoli also used trench warfare.